or like an NPR. I mean, like two total ends of the spectrum. It's still thought-provoking, right? Like you said, even if you don't agree with it, you can listen to it, and then you can form your own opinions as to why, instead of it, like you said, just being shoved down your throat.
There is a podcast in Iowa, Farm4Profit 'twas named by they. They stirred up a banker near, then quick came an auctioneer. Making profit was their first goal, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Soon may the farmers come to bring us guests and beer and fun. One day when the recording's done, we'll take our mics and go. These formats shook us to our core. With Farm4Fun, you will not snore. The banker set all mics to on, and the mullet of podcasts was born. Soon may the farmers come to bring us guests and beer and fun. One day when the recording's done, we'll take our mics and go. Before we knew, conversations grew. Growing corn even said F you. So won't you join Tenor, Dave, Corey, and crew? Please like, share, review. Soon may the farmers come to bring us guests and beer and fun. One day when the recording's done, we'll take our mics and go.
Welcome to the Farm4Profit Podcast. This is Tanner Winterhoff.
This is Corey Hillebo.
And this is David Whitaker.
This is a Farm4Fun show, which, as Dave likes to say, is our happy hour spinoff of the Farm4Profit show. So we're going to enjoy a couple of beverages and talk to someone who's freaking awesome in agriculture and have a good time. So thank you for joining us. Don't forget to share us with your friends. Hit that like button, hit the share button, and leave us a kind review behind. We really appreciate that.
Yeah, it's freaking beautiful weather for December here in Iowa.
Do not ruin it.
Well, we need to get some harsh winter at some point to kill the rootworm beetles and all that kind of crap. But
I have crap to clean up on the farm, and I like the 70 degrees on Wednesday.
yeah. Well, did you see what the wind's supposed to be on Wednesday?
Yeah, I did.
Dad was kind of mad I was leaving because I haven't been around very much lately. And it's nice out. He's like, oh, so much to do outside. I got stuff to do inside for year end. I'm like, just do what you have to do. Like, the season has been gone on long enough, right?
Right. This is kind of bonus time. This is overtime, if you want to say it. We got some bonus gameplay. Also, listener, thank you for sending us your ideas. This has kind of powered us. I shouldn't say kind of. This really powered us through 2021, and you're going to be the reason 2022 is going to be great. So send those to farm4profitllc@gmail.com.
So we want to thank Outback Wraps for sponsoring that as well, for sponsoring the fuel to our fire.
Yeah.
They got 20% off. Use the code Farm4Profit at outbackwrap.com.
That's correct. Just one wrap, but you're going to order a lot of wraps.
Yep. We got a whole box of them in the truck. What do you call those things? Got the snake?
Hose tamer.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there was another one in the middle too, but man, they're awesome.
It's a big one, and they have a deal that we're trying to come up with, and that is, what can we do with glow-in-the-dark Outback wraps?
Yeah, because they have it. They actually have it. They don't sell it.
Keep thinking about it. Like, we were trying to brainstorm ideas. So listeners, keep brainstorming ideas. Send their ideas to us as well, and we can get it to Dave there at Outback Wraps.
I saw Kale. He was putting it up because he couldn't find Christmas lights. He was putting it up as a Christmas light on his gutters.
We've got a couple ideas of wrap the hand railings at night so that we can see their hand railing at night. Put it on the steps coming in and out of bars at night so we don't trip.
I told Dave, on hydraulic downforce on planters, you have to have these little short hoses, hydraulic hoses that go between the rows. I said you should wrap those. It'd be sweet at night.
Oh, yeah. That'd be kind of fun. Yeah, because some of these guys put neon lights on their planters. Blue lights on their sprayers, neon lights.
We are talking way too much for Farm4Fun. We haven't even introduced our guest yet.
Let's
hold on.
Or had a beer yet.
Hold on. We have to do one review sponsored by our partner, Outback Wrap, from Eastern_Iowa_farmer. Said, just started listening to the podcast. Keep them coming.
That's good. At least we didn't turn them off on the first one.
Yep.
I'm glad they want to keep listening. So thank you for leaving that review behind. And don't forget to leave your review. We appreciate that. It also gives us a little bit of content here at the beginning of the show, which is exactly what you probably don't want because you want us to get to that guest that you've been waiting for. Corey, are you ready to do your introduction?
Not at all.
You're not? Well, this ought to be fun.
Almost 1 year ago today, I got a DM from a guy that just joined TikTok. After some short DMs, we exchanged phone numbers.
I thought you were going to say pictures, but anyway.
Followed by a lengthy phone call with what seemed like a lifelong friend. We spoke about many things, from TikTok personalities, podcasts, politics, farming, and even oil production. This man has a podcast of his own, dropping real soon, called the Bushels and Barrels Program. But I'm going to tell you right now, this man is the Rush Limbaugh of agriculture.
Ooh, right.
He farms, produces oil, is a pilot, entrepreneur, business owner, and is unapologetically telling the truth with half his brain tied behind his back just to make it fair. From Mount Carmel, Illinois, Mr. Ryan at Bushels and Barrels, Peter.
Wow. And you guys are the Excellence in Podcasting Network.
Yeah. Woo. I figured you would appreciate it, the Rush reference there.
That I love Rush Limbaugh. I unapologetically loved that man. Whenever he died, it was like losing a best friend.
Yep. So, Ryan, welcome to the show. How are you, man?
I'm great. Just wrapped up the farm year, and as you guys know, before we went on here, had my tax meeting with my tax advisor, so got that out of the way. You know, I came up with something right as I was walking out of my tax advisor's place, though. You know what that is?
What's that?
There's a great entrepreneurial opportunity right here. Beside every Jackson Hewitt or H&R Block needs to be a bar. They would go over.
That'd be gold right there.
It really would.
So we should start from the beginning. I'm sure if you're on TikTok, he has 267,000 followers. I'm sure you know who he is, but we have a lot of listeners from the Twitter side and Facebook. Give us a little background about yourself. What do you do? I mean, it's kind of unique, bushels and barrels. How does that work?
So I'm a farmer, just like you guys are. Corn, soybeans, wheat. I know you guys don't raise wheat up there in Iowa, but we raise wheat down here. I started farming a year after I graduated Southern Illinois University. I've got a degree in business economics. I got the opportunity to come home and take the farm over, and my dad let me rent my grandma's ground, which was 450 acres. Now, I knew coming into it that I'd have to have a side gig to do something to make money. So I was a part-time mail carrier, believe it or not,
Okay.
and made ends meet that way one day. Well, one night, we were shelling corn. It was late. It was a Monday Night Football was on. I'm thinking the Chicago Bears were playing, which was my favorite team. I was shelling corn around an oil well that was going up and down. And like I said, it was like 9:30, 10 o'clock, and I was like, somebody is sitting on their dead end right now, watching Monday Night Football, making money, because this thing's out here going up and down. And I'm in this combine shelling around this thing that's making him money. I want to learn about that. Ultimately, what I did is I did some research, figured out what the University of Texas and University of Oklahoma was the book they were using to teach their introductory petroleum exploration, geology, and production classes with.
Sounds boring.
I'm telling you, you got to want it bad to do it.
Coming from the guy who took accounting 101, 104, it's 401. Yeah.
Very boring. Yep.
Yeah, but what I did is I bought that book. This is back when Amazon was just a bookseller. Do you guys remember that?
Yep.
Yeah.
I bought it off Amazon, and I sat in the elevator line hauling January contracts. I read that book from front to back twice, and it was pretty awesome, or at least I thought it was. And at that point, put your toes in the water, and you feel them, and then you just jump in. That's in a nutshell the way it happened.
So then that's how you explored it. You said you were shelling. Did you end up, you're still farming? You took over? Is it a family dynamic? What does that look like?
My mom and dad, they don't have anything to do with the oil company. I founded that by myself in 2005. My dad helps me on the farm, but I basically run the farm and make all the big decisions associated with it. Granted, just like everybody does, I lean on my dad for information if I ever need it. But the oil company is completely mine. I started it from scratch, drilled my first well, didn't know a damn thing about what I was doing. I lost about half the money I invested in it, and licked my wounds, figured out what I did wrong, which is the way every business owner that's starting something does. Didn't repeat those mistakes, and move forward. And I've been full throttle ahead ever since.
You've also spun off some businesses from oil pumping as well.
Yes, right? Yes. So a lot of people don't know that a byproduct of oil production is salt water. and you have to pay somebody to come get the salt water and haul it off and inject it back in the ground. So as a beginner, I didn't have a truck with a tank on it, not one that's legal to haul salt water with. So I was having to hire that done. And I mean, I was giving so much money to this trucking company. I was like, where'd all my profit go? So I got fed up. Actually, the guy that owned the truck actually picked me off one day because I was shopping around for a different truck to try to do it cheaper. And he got a hold of me. He cussed me up one side and down. I'm his customer. And he cusses me up one side and down the other for looking for another vendor that might do it a little cheaper. You know, capitalism.
Yep.
Funny how
Yep.
it's nothing weird about that. And right then I got off the phone and I called one of my good buddies that I had made a friend in since I started in oil. And I said, I don't care if it's the biggest hunk of you've ever seen in your life. If it's a truck and it's a tank, I want it. I'm going to buy it and I'm going to start hauling my own damn water. So he did. He got me a truck and it was the biggest piece of Mack truck R model you've ever seen. I mean, piece of crap. But anyway, I bought that thing for $10,000. I pulled this hunk of junk on my drive. My dad is shaking his head. He was like, Ryan, this will never pass a DOT inspection. Well, I don't give a damn. I'm going to make some money with it. Sure enough, I went out. And the funny thing was, is the second that I got that truck and my neighbors noticed that truck was sitting at my farm, they started calling me. Hey, you going to do that for hire? We're sure paying an arm and a leg from this other guy. And right then it was on. I was like, yeah, I want to do it for hire.
Yeah.
Come and get me.
Yeah.
And from there, it grew. I've got 4 of them now. I've been up and down with employees. That goes with the up and down price of oil. And if you guys have paid any attention to that in the past 10 years, how that works.
Yep.
COVID didn't kill me, but man, it wasn't easy.
So where are you hauling the salt water to?
So I have an injection well. It's a well that I drilled for oil, but there was no oil there. So instead of plugging that well, there was some really, really good sand reservoirs down there with salt water in them. They had high permeability and high porosity. So I decided instead of plugging the well, I would set it up to where I could inject water back down in those sandstones. Completely legal, all straight up. And that's what I did. Once I got that injection well, that's when stuff really actually took off for me. Because it's one thing to be able to haul the water. You got to have someplace to go with it. So once I got the place to go with it, it worked out great.
Yeah, that was going to be my question. I was envisioning the same tanks that we haul manure with around here, and then you'd have a permissible rate per acre that you could put it on, but I couldn't see how that would be beneficial at all to crops. You'd have to
be toxic and salt.
Yeah. So you'd have to have a place like that to dispose of.
Yeah, you don't want to put it on ground. As a matter of fact, you spill very much of it on the ground. I mean, it's a ground sterilizer. It'll just completely destroy your ground.
All of the ice caps are melting. You can just inject it back into the ocean, and then boom, there it is. The ocean goes back up, right?
There you go.
There you go.
Right.
I know some oil producers that have contributed it back to the ocean.
What about the oil wells that are off the coast, like out in the middle of the ocean? They have to do something, don't they? Or do they just pump it back into the ocean?
That's a great question. I'll have to do some research. I wonder, because I guarantee you they're producing salt water as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Salt water in salt water, so let's just make it more salty.
More salt water.
Exactly. That's a great point.
Maybe if it's too salty, then there's a dead zone around the...
Yeah. Jeez. Man.
Should we try this first beer?
Oh, yeah, we should.
My mouth's dry.
All right, I opened up the Powder Day IPA, Ryan.
Powder Day IPA. Gotcha.
So this is courtesy of Dahl Distributing. Thank you, Dahl, for sending this up. This is a Sierra Nevada.
Yep.
Look at it. I said Nevada.
Sierra Nevada.
You like that? Family owned and operated and argued over. Is that argued?
Double dry hop.
I don't know, but it's got hops
That
on
is
the
argued.
on the print.
Yeah.
Double dry hopped.
This is probably not a Tony or...
We had
David
a little bit of snow.
favorite.
We had a little bit of snow, and it's gone.
I do like the can. It's classic.
It's white.
Nice and white.
Looks like ski slopes with hops.
Ooh, 7.7 ABV.
It's cold.
All right, let's give it a taste.
It's kind of bland. Just like a
Like snow.
bland for an IPA, but like, yeah, smooth for an IPA, I guess.
Double dry hopped. I guess I get a little bit of the dry.
Yeah.
Ryan's a big Busch Light drinker, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah, this stuff needs a chaser.
A Busch Light chaser. Dave's got his Red Bull here.
There you go, Dave.
I got a Red
For
Bull
an
chaser.
IPA, though, I would say it's
It's mild.
yeah,
If that's the right terminology, mild.
yeah, it's not bad. It's just not a lot jumping out at me.
Yeah. There you go.
I wanted to go back to, you said that pumper guy called you and was bidding out his own customer. I had a similar situation this last week. I forwarded Tanner the text. I will not say the company's name because I do not want to give them free advertising.
Of any kind.
But it was a
no advertising
company
of any
that
kind.
has been pretty big in selling or wanting farmers to sign up for carbon credits.
Uh-huh.
And the guy has been on me for probably over a year. And nice guy. We've had nothing but good conversations, but I must have caught him at the very wrong time because I forwarded him a Twitter conversation that was going on, and I said like something along the lines of like, oh, this guy gets it, because someone put something out there that I kind of agreed with. And his response was, you have no clue, blah, 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 something about keyboard warriors on Twitter, something, something, something. And I said, oh, yes, that makes me want to do business with you. Telling me I have no clue, even if I don't. Really?
Just like that guy that chewed your ass.
Yeah. Even if I don't think you tell your customer that.
You can't do this.
Yeah.
I'm going to.
So, no carbon credits from that company for me.
You know a company that doesn't tell you that you're wrong, that only tries to make your operation a lot smoother?
I think you're going to tell me who.
It's John Deere. So
Yeah.
let's quick listen to a message here from John Deere. They're minimizing risks on your farm, helping you improve your yields, and increasing your profit margins. In today's farming operations, the data is the key to achieving all of this, Dave.
It's no secret that data has been helping more and more farmers gain ground in their operation. And there's no better way to manage all of that data than through John Deere's Operations Center. As a leading farm management platform, John Deere is constantly and continuously fine-tuning the features in Operations Center to make it easier, faster for you to analyze all of that farm data.
Yeah, and within that Operations Center, you can collect and analyze all of your machine, field, and crop data year after year so you can make those data-driven decisions for your operation. You can set up field instructions for your machine operators, then push those instructions directly to that in-cab display straight from that Operations Center. Then your operators don't have to enter this information when they get to the field.
That is so cool. And with near real-time monitoring with the Operations Center, you can track the machine performance, the field work, and stay ahead of all the logistics to ensure the right work is being done at the right time. With all that yield data in Operations Center, you can analyze your total farm operations performance and make any changes for an even better next year.
And John Deere continues to make their Operations Centers your go-to place to gain ground in your operation. It's free to use. Just create an account at operationscenter.deere.com or download the mobile apps from the Apple app or Google Play stores. You can also see your local John Deere dealer for more information. Thank you to John Deere for being a proud partner of the Farm4Profit podcast. All right. That was a nice, quick interruption. And back to Ryan. So, Ryan, what about your family? What do you got going on out there for kids running around the house?
For kids running around the house, I have a 16-year-old who got his license back in March, so he's become a really, really big help around here, be it farm or oil.
I really thought you were going to say that he just got his license back. Like he got it and then lost it already and just got it back.
Back in March, not back in general. No, and then I've got a 3-year-old with my wife. He's a little hellion. He is going to make me pay for every sin I ever committed in my life.
That's good.
That's the way it's supposed to go, right?
Mm-hmm. Do your kids watch your TikToks?
Oh, yeah. My 16-year-old does. Like, it's funny. I think most of his friends in high school all consider me famous. And it's hilarious. It's like, dude, there's nothing famous. I'm the furthest thing from famous. It's
The reason I ask is, so my wife says, you screwed it up. I said, what do you mean? I made a TikTok ranting about buying a cell phone the other day because we were buying a cell phone for my kid for Christmas. Well, his friends at school apparently watched my TikTok and went and showed it to my son. And my son was like, do we buy a new phone? Do we buy a new phone? Am I getting a phone for Christmas? So that's why I ask, your kids watch your TikToks.
I bet your son probably gets more hell for your wife's TikTok account than yours because of all the testosterone in them teenage boys.
probably. Yeah. Maybe so. I don't know. I haven't asked him about it.
Well, let's talk about TikTok, though, because like literally, I said in my intro, you called me probably almost a year ago. I know it was right around Christmas time.
Yes.
And it was, I've had a couple instances, but like you were just getting on. I'm like, who is this guy? Like I had no idea. And then we talked. I was in the garage. It was like a Friday night or something, and we both didn't have much going on, and we talked forever. And now all of a sudden you have this huge TikTok following. I mean, you've almost overtaken Tony in some aspects.
I don't know what it is. I can attribute a lot of my followers to my one-time oil dumping video. Do you remember that video?
Yeah.
I'm the guy that took that down. TikTok didn't take that down. I'm the guy that took that down because it was up for a week. It got to 11 million views. I couldn't do anything inside the app because all it is such and such is following you, such and such is following you. But ultimately, the straw that broke the camel's back with that was there's some snowflake in Wichita, Kansas. And I hope whoever this snowflake is listening. They started sending me private messages. Who are you? Where are you at? I'm like, if you don't know who I am and where I'm at, you obviously haven't went back and looked at any of my previous TikToks.
Yep.
But we want to know where your permits are for doing this. I'm not answering. As a matter of fact, I blocked the dude. It was the next day the Illinois Department of Natural Resources out of my hometown, their branch in Mount Carmel, got a hold of me. And I know the guy that works there. Me and him are on good terms. We've always worked well together. I understand his job, and I think he understands mine. He said, Ryan, he goes, somebody in Wichita, Kansas called the EPA. The EPA got a hold of me, and now they're demanding to see all the permits associated with you doing that.
Yep.
I said, well, I've got them. Look them up. Long story short, he looked them all up, but he's like, he goes, it's a funny TikTok. He goes, for people that don't have any idea, you would think you're dumping oil straight on the ground and made up a story to go along with it and everything. He goes, I thought it was hilarious. But it's starting to cause me problems.
Oh, yeah.
So, in the Department of Natural Resources, that's the authority that I have to deal with.
Yeah.
And to go burn all your bridges right there for a stupid TikTok video, I just took it down.
Yeah.
So,
but I think that's the way a lot of TikTok accounts go, is it takes one to just kind of
blow you up,
thrust you. Yeah.
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 I was probably, right before that video, I was probably sitting at about 100,000. And that one just instantly, as a matter of fact, I was talking to Tony one day. He looked on his phone, I guess, at my profile, and he texted me back. He said, you're catching up with me. I mean, that's how fast I was growing right then, which, I mean, I've never done it to try to have 1 million followers. I don't even know what my goal was getting on here besides watching Tony and you guys, and I didn't mean to do this.
Well, I think there's a couple good lessons there. Is one, like, have a good relationship with the people you work with. Even, the DNR, they get such a bad rap, but like having that relationship probably really helped. It reminds me of a time when we had to put some manure on some slightly frozen ground in late November, early December, which, the manure has to go somewhere or else it's going to spill over and go into the streams.
Either we control it or we don't have control.
We'll say it was a Richard in one town that didn't even live by the field that we were applying it, but he saw the trucks that were hauling it and followed the trucks to the field and just kept circling the section and calling the DNR. And the DNR called us and said, hey, and he was kind of laughing. He's like, I just have to call and tell you that this guy called, but we, because we already had the relationship and told them what we were doing.
Yep.
Made sure it was good. Yep, good to go. Just stay, 200 yards away from any inlets and creeks and all that. All right, here we go. So remind me of that, freaking Richard.
Yeah, and same thing, both my family and my in-laws, we have to deal with manure also. And it is fascinating, the people that will stop, and you can't tell if they're just enamored by the size of the equipment and what you're doing. But as soon as they pull their phone out, I'd be lying if I didn't say I was nervous. It's crap. What is this?
And it's probably the same damn people that want organic and that kind of stuff, and natural. And you know where the fertilizer comes for that?
Yep.
Out of the ass of a pig or a horse or a goat or a duck.
Did you see the Yellowstone? Did you guys watch Yellowstone? Did you see the quote on Yellowstone?
No, I didn't.
Oh, well, then I won't spoil it. It won't be a spoiler, but if you watch...
you might not want to do that for the rest of our listeners,
The next show, I'll tell you why I don't watch Yellowstone.
Oh, no. It's so good.
Oh, hell. Come on, man.
Because of Beth Dutton? You just don't like Beth Dutton? Is that?
No, I don't know who that is. Honestly, the reason...
Man.
So I am a serial show watcher. If I get into it, I will stay up late. I will get up early just because I have to know. And I can't do that to myself. Not right now. I need more time.
You just need to follow Beth Dutton then on social media for nothing else.
That's funny.
I don't watch much TV, but when I get a show that I do like I'm like a binge guy.
When you do watch TV, what's your snack of choice?
Snack of choice would be now Dollar Jerky Club's jerky.
Oh, that was almost like a great planned transition.
It's like you planned that out.
Ryan, you like jerky?
I do.
So they reached out to me and sent me a box, and I brought it in here to the studio with the next beer.
You're a big star.
We'll try some. I made a video for them, but use the code Farm4Profit to get 20% off on your Dollar Jerky Club deal. And they send
Farm the number 4 profit.
So I was talking to my buddy about it. He's like, I got one of them jerky boxes one time, and it was terrible. Well, it was all grass-fed beef. This is cool because there was one that said grass-fed, but they have like 4 or 5 different companies, so they're like throwing all these in there. Like this one's just kosher, but then
Wicked Cuts.
Wicked Cuts is good.
I got a Smoke Shack Jam and Jerk.
Oshnet. Yeah,
It's kosher.
I had one that
this one's got some kick to it.
I had one that didn't make it to the show though because I was so intrigued. It was an African spicy flavored. Got ginger, cayenne pepper, and cumin.
So DollarJerkyClub.com?
DollarJerkyClub.co.
.co.
Yep.
All right.
.com was sold out.
Use that code, and it's like $1 a day for a box of jerky every month, something like that. So try it out.
Ryan, you do bushels, you're a farmer, but then you also do oil. Did you like one more than the other? You went to school for the farming, but I see a whole lot of oil stuff.
They complement each other very well. About the time that you're tired of sitting in a combine, harvest gets over, you can get back in the oil field. And then you go all winter long and you're like, okay, well, I'm tired of checking wells and doing your daily routine there. Well, hey, it's time to plant. So they go back and forth really good. The reason that I do a lot of oil content on TikTok is because everybody's doing farm content. Yep. There's just not that much to show.
So is there an oil talk?
There are.
Like there's a farm talk?
Yeah, there's an oil talk. It's nothing like farm talk, but there is an oil talk. As a matter of fact,
is that just like does Ted Cruz have that up?
I don't know how I would ever prove it. Do what?
Does Ted Cruz had that up, or how?
I think I might have been the first person to hashtag oil talk back last December.
I'm sure.
I don't know.
I'm sure there's not a banker talk.
So it's a very unique position because like oil technically really doesn't like corn for the ethanol side of things, right? At least if you're like I said, just
you guys can't
Ted
see.
Cruz.
You can't see this, but he just rolled his eyes and looked to the corner of the room and rolled his eyes again. So.
No.
Or is it just all the politics in Washington, going back and forth?
Well, okay. I said this before I was even in the oil business. I don't think there should be subsidies for ethanol. And I'm a farmer, and I sell corn that I know it helps support the price of my corn. But just the same way that I don't think there should be subsidies for solar panels or windmill farms or an oil company. I don't get one single subsidy of any sort for being an oil producer, and I never have, and there's none available. I mean, we are the guys that honestly, when it comes to capitalism, you got to make what you have. There's no safety net to fall back on. It's like, Tanner, you'll appreciate this. Whenever somebody comes in and needs an ag loan, you're probably going to look at how many acres you farm, what are you buying, and the most important one, crop insurance. Mm-hmm. Do you carry crop insurance and how much?
Subsidized.
There is.
And that's subsidized.
Protections.
Yeah. Right. There is nothing like that for oil. I can go drop $20,000 in this oil well right now. We could burn that up in 3 days, and I might have nothing to show for it. And there's no insurance that you can buy to protect you from that happening. So
I'm 100% behind that as well, because I feel like on an even playing field, I believe in myself and would bet in myself to outcompete and to win, right? But then when you don't have an even playing field and certain subsidies come in and some people get more than others and all that, then it's just kind of like it's not even, right? So that's hard. I don't know. But until that point, like, you have to play the game, right? Or else you're behind.
I've said that from day one. People ask me, and you, I'm sure you guys have all got the same comments on your TikTok threads. If you damn subsidized farmers, you go out and you make fun of the people on welfare, but you're the guy standing there taking the welfare as well. to an extent, they're right. But I agree with you totally.
Yep.
You have to take it, because if your neighbor is going to, cash rent this ground for $330 an acre, and you know damn good and well that 40 of those dollars are coming from a government subsidy, if I'm going to even try to be competitive, I got to stay on that playing field. And it sucks. I wish they would take them all away. Let the best man win.
That was kind of like the PPP loan package.
Yeah.
I had a lot of customers that came in saying, my business is down, but I'm still keeping my doors open. And farmers, same thing. This is a depressing time, so on and so forth. But if you don't take it, if you don't sign up for it, everybody else just gets that much further ahead.
I had some people at even our association like, well, those people are promoting how good they are, but they took subsidy money and I didn't. Can we promote all the people that didn't? I'm like, well, no. I don't know. Like you said, if you can't beat them, you got to join them, and just to stay in the game, you got to get in the game.
So
That's right.
I commented back on a Twitter post to somebody talking about subsidies one time, and that MFer, you can look, it's all public information, went and literally screenshot how much I've got in subsidies and everything in the last year or whatever, and put it up on Twitter. And I'm like, okay, I know that's public information, but boy, that seems very personal.
Right. I agree. Yeah. And I don't disagree, though, with it being public information. All the PPP loans, all the subsidies, I agree with that. But should it be used? I mean, that's a character flaw. Should it be used like that in content and conversation? I don't think so.
For that guy that's trying to get
I don't know. Real estate, we got to take ethics class every year. What do you guys take as farmers? Do you have a continuing ed?
Yeah, for like agronomy and that kind of stuff.
Chemical application.
Yeah, chemical
Yep.
applications.
All
But
right,
not, yeah.
fair enough. No ethics. All right, fair enough.
All right, let's get another beer here. Dave, what did I just open? This is again from Dahl Distributing.
So this is the bottle we're doing, Sierra Nevada Atomic Torpedo, Juicy West Coast D IPA, double IPA again. It's 8.2 ABV on this one. It's got like a atomic atom on the front.
All right.
It's using hops for the
It goes good
protons
with
and
that
neutrons and electrons.
chunk of jerky I just ate, that teriyaki.
Oh, no. Oh,
Dave, I should have been videotaping that. Actually, we got the camera on. That's right.
oh man, guys.
Right.
Okay, the first one was bland. If that's your normal IPA, mercy.
This is full flavored. This is almost a weedy IPA.
Wheat or
Yeah.
weed?
Wheat.
I agree. The wheat.
So, Ryan, I've watched some of your stuff. You like to hunt.
No, I'm not a hunter at all.
You're not a hunter? I thought you liked to
No.
hunt.
No, honestly, I've had a million people ask me, like, dude, I bet you hunt deer, and I bet you're out there
Wrong
chasing
guy.
rabbits and turkeys.
No,
Too many-
he had some people hunting on your land or something.
I did.
That's what
Oh, that's what it was. Okay.
Yeah, the people that just moved in and set their shit up on my property.
Yes.
That happened to me tonight. Before I came out here, my deer stand, I went home and there's some guy in orange sitting in my deer stand. And so it was make the call. Do I go out and approach him? Is he going to shoot me? What's the deal? And so I called all the neighbors. Neighbors like, oh, I told that guy he can hunt in your place. Like, really?
Thanks.
Really?
Wow.
Thanks.
So with no liability waiver, I assume if he falls out of the stands, your neighbor is the one that gets sued, right?
I would hope so. Yeah.
Hope we have that in a text message.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
So what do you do for fun if you're not out there hunting? What's your hobby?
My hobby is I don't own an airplane anymore. My partner and I just sold it. We'll probably get another one, but flying was my hobby up until 4 or 5 months ago. And then I play guitar. I honestly, hanging out with my wife and 3-year-old, and at the end of a hard day at work, I love life. I mean, it doesn't take a whole lot to entertain me. I love researching things that, I realize that Wikipedia is sometimes not the best source in the world, but that thing is a rabbit hole because you start reading about one certain subject, then it has the link to the next subject, and before you know it, you're reading about something totally different than where you started, and that right there is one of my big hobbies. Is just learning random crap. As a matter of fact, my podcast is going to be about a lot of just random crap.
So you're like a cross between growing corn and Justin Danger.
Honestly, yeah, you can.
Random facts in farming. So speaking of wormholes, I get on TikTok there and I start watching stuff, and your little TikTok showed up last night, and you were on some kind of bus and had some kind of tutu or so. What was that all about?
So Cody Gayer got a hold of my wife and I, which Cody only lives about 15 miles north of me, which I didn't know him till TikTok. Isn't that funny?
Yeah,
That is.
Him and I have become really good friends, and he and Nicole got a hold of my wife and I and said, hey, we're going to put together this ugly sweater Christmas party bus ride. So everybody that was invited just had to put on their ugliest sweater they could find. And my wife, I put that sweatshirt on with Santa on it, and she said, you need a turtleneck. And I don't have a turtleneck. So she's like, I've got a turtleneck. She goes, it's ladies call it a bodysuit. I call it a onesie. So I put it on without buttoning it. Well, by the time when we got up to Cody's, he looked at it, and everybody that was at Cody's looked at it and said, you have to button that onesie.
Uh-huh.
So I buttoned the onesie, looked totally stupid. Well, then we get to the first bar. They had a Christmas tree, and some girl who I didn't know that was on the bus with us grabbed two of the small ornaments and made me testicles, and we put that in there. So
That sounds like a great party bus.
that would have been fun.
it was a good time. Me and Cody and Tony was on the party bus too, and I think we all paid for it yesterday.
I was down deer hunting last weekend, and yeah, we stayed up way past my bedtime and had beers. I haven't done that for a long time. Can't do that anymore.
Yeah, I was up in a real.
You guys are not that old. You're like the youngest ones in this entire conversation.
Oh yeah, but did you drink beer past midnight on
I
Saturday
did.
night?
You just got to add some Red Bull to it.
Okay.
And then you're
So then
good.
your heart races all night while you can't sleep.
We went up to the Whiskey River, and there was two girls that were dancing like on the table, like bumping and grinding to the WAP song. and I told the guy we were with, I said, hey, watch this. I said, let's just outdo him. He said, what do you mean? Well, then my wife and I got up, but did you know jukebox you can do on an app on your phone?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm old.
That's been a thing for
Yeah,
10
I
years.
realized that because I went over to the jukebox to put the dollar in it. Well, you didn't have to. You can do it from your phone now. Well, I did, but I played a little country music, and we got old Footloose going, and we did a little swing dancing, and I think we had the whole bar. And even the girl that was whopping, she's like, all right, I'll give you credit on that. I got a fist bump. It was good.
That's funny. I was a lot more laid back. I still was up late drinking. We went back home for doing an early Christmas party. So me and my siblings, we played a lot of card games. That's our thing in the family to do that. But we still drank a fair share and stayed up night. It's nice not having a place to go and didn't have to wake up and travel anywhere.
I'm just picturing Dave going up to the jukebox to put $1 in. The guy that's probably most tech savvy here.
I know.
And did you know this thing doesn't have mini discs?
And then there's Fast Pass. So I waited for like 2 hours for my song to play. Didn't realize that everybody in the bar was also contributing to the nobody has gone up there yet. My song's got to be coming up. So we stayed way later than we should because I'm waiting for my song to come up. And then I realized there's an app on your phone for that. Hey,
And
look
you
at
can
that.
pay to have it played next.
Yeah. So then I did.
And once again, capitalism works.
Yes.
Yes.
So if you paid to have your song played next, but then someone else paid after that to have your song played next, who's gets to go?
Yours goes in queue. So
Okay.
like I did pay to have my next, and it says you'll be third in queue.
Okay.
Okay, fair enough. I can do that.
That's pretty good.
Awesome.
One of the other cool things I like about you, Ryan, is so my dad served many, many terms on the school board. And it's kind of neat to hear your perspective, and you know you're pretty straightforward about it. You know, how does that work in your community? Because all I have is the experience of being in a household with my dad back in the time to when the house phone rang all the frickin' time. People calling him and ask questions. I mean, you'd answer be like, "Is Dan there?" Yeah, hold on. You know, that was back before cell phones, but
Right.
it's a lot more. It's a lot different now.
It is, and I represent. Man, where do you start with this conversation? Illinois is a tough state to live in when it comes to these regulations for these poor kids that's just forced to put a mask on every day. And we're talking kindergartners all the way through seniors in high school. You know, you get calls from irate parents just because they're like, why does my 3-year-old have to wear a mask all day? This is our third grader needs to see, you know, their classmates and the looks on their faces, you know, to know what's socially accepted, what's not, what's funny, what's not. You know, the stuff that obviously I never even thought about whenever I was a kid or grown up, you know, and my phone rings all the time, not so much lately, But yeah, like in the beginning of the school year, whenever J.B. Pritzker came out and said that all public schools were going to have to wear a mask all year long, I was totally against it. I was very vocal about it. I'm still totally against it. And I think some people take me the wrong way by being against it. I'm not against the mask. I'm against the mandate. It's just the same way with the vaccine. I'm not against the vaccine. I'm against the mandate of the vaccine. Mm-hmm. Why is it that the government should know better for my kid than me as pertaining to my kid's health and when I send them to school whether to wear a mask? And then the same way with an adult as pertaining to the vaccine. Why can't that be a decision between me and my doctor? Why do I need the long arm of the law telling me what to do in this instance? Yeah, and the thing is in the beginning on TikTok, I used a lot more foul language. I was not quite Tony, but I would use some foul language. But then when I realized the power that TikTok has and how many people are actually on it that you don't know, their user 5,774,000,000, and then they start bumping into you like, oh, I follow you. I like your TikToks. I was like, I need to clean this up just a little bit. I don't have to be a prude. I could still say, the normal words, but the words that rhyme with buck, I try not to say. And honestly, I'm so straightforward about it. I think that sometimes the school district doesn't know how to take me.
Wait. You can't say straightforward and talk farming because somebody else has that podcast. You have your own podcast.
Exactly. Very true.
That's good.
But I don't disagree. And I really liked the way social media took this unfortunate turn of events and re-put on the importance to our local elections. I mean, you really got to see why it matters to show up on an off year at the polls to make sure that you vote the right people in. If you were in my school district, I would appreciate a candidate like you because I know where you stand.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm either in line or against, it doesn't matter. I know where Ryan Peters stands.
That's right.
And that's huge because there was a couple in our school district that you thought were one direction, and all of a sudden, surprise!
That doesn't fit with cancel culture. And we fight it. You're a banker. I'm real estate. We try to be politically correct most of the time because somebody's always watching, and you get nervous about that. I wonder if society's not just too nervous about it, and there's not enough people say this is where I stand. And it doesn't mean you have to agree with me. It just is where I stand. Either like it or get banned.
The damnedest thing is my girls actually really started enjoying watching Survivor. And I hadn't watched Survivor since like the third or fourth, sixth season, whatever it was. And it is fascinating watching the politics in that TV show. And it fits the politics in your community. You got some people that are chameleons and just they will fit into whatever group to get whatever deal they want passed. And then you got others that are leaders and others that, like you said, just, no, this is how it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
I've always, of course, my mom and dad taught me, honesty is always the best policy. It doesn't mean you have to be a butthole when you deliver your honesty, but be stern about it. Own it. If you believe in something, just own it. It's a trait that I guess is really hard because in today's world of so sensitive and PC and all that, why do you think Tony has went over so well?
Yep.
Yeah.
Not only is he hilarious, but he believes what he says and it makes sense.
Some people would argue that's where Donald Trump was standing, just a little more raw. And I think that may be why he got elected in the first place, because we've had so much of the political worriedness of doing that. You own your own business. Tony owns his own business. I can say, having owned my own business and working for the man, you bite your lip and bide your time a hell of a lot more when you work for the man than when you're on your own.
Yep.
Oh, this podcast could be way different if I didn't work for the man.
We're trying.
A bit different. So.
Well, but Dave, even as you say that, even though I'm self-employed, I have landlords.
Oh, yeah.
So sometimes whenever I get on there on TikTok and I'm just like, the Wabash County Health Department, who is quarantining my son and not letting him go to homecoming, can go to hell.
Yeah.
As emotional as that is, I guess a guy is taking kind of a chance there because who knows, maybe one of your landlords has a daughter or an extended family member that works there, and I just threw him completely under the bus. Yep. So whenever you're getting ready to deliver a message like that, once again, how much are you going to own it? Because you're going to have to at that point.
Yep.
Once it's out there, you know.
So I looked up where Mount Carmel is, and it's like,
It sounds delicious.
well, it's actually not spelled that way,
Oh.
right? Carmel,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So,
yes.
but he's like right on the Indiana line. Like, why don't you just move like 10 miles?
Oh, I know. I know. So, and see, that's at our school board meetings, that's something that has been brought up more than once. Is like, okay, so we're forced to mask up right here in our hometown. You could throw a rock across the Wabash River, which is the border between Illinois and Indiana, and you just go right over there, and they don't have any of this crap. You know, these basketball players, high school basketball players right now, and some games, and I haven't figured out quite why this is now. Some games, the basketball players themselves, the high school basketball players, are wearing masks while they're playing. The people that need the oxygen the most have a mask on, but nobody in the stands has got one on.
Why?
Same with the Iowa-Illinois border, because Iowa is not a mask mandate, but on the just cross the river.
Right.
Apparently, COVID is just in Illinois. It can't cross water.
And it's only in high school basketball, and only the coaches and the basketball players and the refs can spread it, I guess.
I don't know if anybody's ever tried walking up steps with a mask on. You get winded. Try imagine running up and down a basketball court,
Oh, I know.
having to breathe through a mask.
And I can't imagine that that's healthy either.
No.
Yeah. Your body needs oxygen, and whenever you got a mask that's sitting there holding a bunch of carbon dioxide, I can't think that's good for you while you're working out.
So I really wanted to do something when I sent these beers to you. So I'm glad that they made it. They got there early, listener, because I thought we were recording the following Monday. So you've had these beers for a little while. But I wanted to make it to where when you open the box, one of those snakes popped out at you. Because I know how big of a fan you are.
He's like, don't want to stomp your little last season product shoes at me, honey.
Oh, my God.
Wait. I want that clip. Right there. I've never heard Dave say that before.
No.
That was awesome.
New one.
So yeah, why are you such a girl about snakes?
Here's the thing about a snake for me.
How dare you assume his gender?
Hey, look, there's a paraglider. Sorry, squirrel. It's nice enough here in December. Someone's paragliding.
They are.
Yeah, it's pretty nice here today as well. But I just don't like snakes. I have no idea. There's a lot of people that don't, and I'm just one of those people. And I knew whenever I was getting ready to look in that thing, the snake was going to be in there because my wife told me. So the way this thing went down was this is a Sunday afternoon. It's about 95 degrees outside. And my wife said, hey, let's sit around the pool and have some drinks this afternoon. Just kind of take it easy. Okay, what do you want? I'll go to the store and get it. She told me some, I don't know, Michelob Lime or something like that. So I'm at the beer store. She sends me a text that says, oh, my God, there's a snake in the pool. Like right then, I'm just kind of burping and gagging. My gag reflex is kicking in right now. But so now I know what I'm going to get into when I get home. And she says, I think there's baby snakes in the skimmer. I was like, you got to be kidding me. She's like, you got to get them out. And I was just like, okay. And I knew she would make a TikTok of it. So then that meant I had to make a TikTok of it. And just sure enough, there were two baby snakes in there. So I have my 3-year-old's little rake, his little toy rake. I'm sitting there holding it. And what did I do to get down in there? I can't even remember. I think I put on, of course, gloves that came up to your elbow. And I reached down there and grabbed that damn thing and flop them out. And I took that rake. And I just murdered that damn snake. Busted his little rake to complete and total pieces. I don't like it. Of course, then now it's like, okay, well, if there's baby snakes, it means there's got to be a mommy and daddy snake. I wonder where they're at. So it ruined my whole day. I didn't even swim.
Oh, that's funny.
That's hilarious.
So, well, do you guys like snakes?
No.
I mean, I don't have a problem with snakes. I mean, probably the biggest thing that I don't like about snakes is just the surprise factor.
Yeah.
Yep.
As soon as I know the snake's there, I don't have a problem. But it's like, oh, crap. Yeah, you're not supposed to be right there.
Yeah.
When I was in high school, I worked construction, and these guys put a Gatorade bottle with a snake in it in my truck. And I had a single cab F-150, and I was like, them dirty dogs threw that. And so I throw the the pop bottle over on the side and didn't ever see a snake in it or anything. Well, then the next day they're like, hey, did you find the snake? And they're like, what was your reaction? I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, we put a snake in your truck. I'm like, no, you didn't. They're like, yeah, we did. So then I'm like, well, it's still in there then. And they're like, no, my dad was like, oh, they're just screwing with you. There's no snake in your truck, whatever. So my dad convinced me not. I tell you what, you want about to drive off the road. You're driving down the road, look over, sitting right next to you, and there's a snake curled up on your seat. You about wreck. I'm on the interstate doing like 70, and I'm jumping out of the vehicle with this thing. We get home, and I'm like got a hockey stick, I think, and I beat that thing to death. Yeah, trying to get it out of my truck. I wouldn't drive for like a week because I was like, "There's a freaking snake in my truck." It's just horrible.
There's a snake in my boot.
There's a snake in my truck.
Name that movie.
Toy Story.
Yeah,
there you go. All right, last beer. This is not courtesy of Dole Distributing. Thanks again for letting us substitute a beer in. This is the Beaver Island Brewing Ripple Kolsch Ale. So we're not doing an IPA this time.
Haven't we had this one before?
We have. This is a Geringhoff beer.
They sent more?
Right. So thanks to Geringhoff for proudly supporting the Farm4Profit podcast. And we're going to taste this beer, but I sent Corey and I sent a whole bunch of people. I saw a TikTok with this massive freaking combine looking thing from the Ukraine. Have you seen that, Ryan, on TikTok? I'll have to send it to you.
No,
it's a 24-row head, isn't it?
24-row head. It's a Geringhoff head, but it's in the Ukraine. And it is on a combine that instead of, I'm going to describe it as lengthwise and width.
It's as wide as the head.
So the combine is only like 30 feet deep. But it's as wide.
Yeah, and you can unhook the head and everything.
Yeah.
Yes, I did see that.
Yeah. But that's a Geringhoff head.
They say that's the future of agriculture.
Right.
Yeah.
It's one of those machines that you can.
Yeah.
So that's an attachment to the machine is a combine.
Yep.
So then you can attach your seeder, your harrow, your whatever you want to put on it. But that's a Geringhoff head. So they are head of the class no matter the crop, and they will build you a custom head. For example, that's a giant freaking header.
It's cool too.
Nexat, Nexat. So if you're listening to this, Nexat, type that into YouTube, and that is going to make your night. You will watch everything from that company. It's pretty cool. But thanks to Geringhoff for bringing us this beer. Let's try it again.
It's definitely not an IPA.
Nope. It's almost got a lager taste to it.
Yeah. It's heavy.
This is a beer I could drink the whole can.
It's not too bad.
Well, there you go. It's a good one to end on.
I could drink this whole thing. It is.
That's better than the first two, for sure.
I must agree.
While we're doing this, I should have done this during harvest. These were sent to us.
Are those cookies?
What's these? Is that a giant cookie?
Maybe. No. These were sent to us by Hank Wade.
Oh, yeah. Hank.
So we have a custom. He makes these signs.
Oh, that is so cool.
Wood signs. Yep. So custom Farm4Profit one, and then I'm pretty sure this one is for Dave.
Oh, cool.
Got
Firefighter.
Got the firefighter on it.
Farm4Profit got an acrylic finish with plywood back.
HankWade.com.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Those are awesome.
He sent those to us. It had to be in like October. They came during harvest and things were bad, and I said, "Yeah, I'll give them to him during the show." I got one as well in my garage. So
that is so cool.
So thank you.
That's
Hank.
way cool.
Before we leave, we'll take pictures of these.
So now it's like a Christmas gift.
This is like a Christmas. I was just going to say it's Merry Christmas.
So I kind of felt bad.
Farm4Profit Christmas. What's our address? Hey, if you want to send us a Christmas present, the address is.
Oh, that is perfect. We'll do that. Yep. If you go to the website, farm4profit.com, you'll find the address.
That Nexat thing, I Googled it. I YouTubed it. It's
freaking sweet?
Wow, it's interesting.
And you can see the concept working, right? Like, it's not deep, so you could like turn the tracks sideways and go down the road.
Go down the road. Yeah.
It's meant to do the tram line farming.
Yep.
So the tracks are always in the same place. So kind of a neat concept.
Huh.
Let's talk about your podcast.
Yes.
Okay.
The Bushels and Barrels program, right?
That's right.
Going to drop this week. Next week.
Just got my podcast equipment here a couple weeks ago. And, I've had a bunch of people on TikTok message me and say, dude, you need a podcast just because of my political stuff that I put out there, but I still try to be funny, and I don't know, I guess just me being me. And I've just had so many people say, well, you need a podcast. And I was actually thinking about it last August. And I was like, I think maybe that would be a fun hobby now that I don't have an airplane and it's going to be wintertime. And as much as I like to do stuff like we talked about earlier on Wikipedia, and you go down these rabbit holes, and before you know it, you're learning about so much stuff that you're just sure that very few people know that is so cool. And I was just like, I'm going to make a podcast, and I'm going to try to keep it to about 20 minutes per episode, so it's not like one that you'll listen to all day.
So is this going to be daily, like Rush Limbaugh, and you'll be Bush Limbaugh instead?
No. I'm in the beginning here, and it might be the way it stays. Is I think if I want to do a really good job, it's something I need to plan and think about. So I'm thinking once a week is what I'm thinking. I don't want to I do not want to get on there and just talk, just to have a podcast. I want somebody and I'm going to drop them every Friday. So it's an easy day to remember as you're on your way to happy hour. Pick up the 20 minutes, and if I offer something cool, great. If not, if you're mowing the lawn this weekend, you can listen to it, quick 20-minute show. But I don't want to get on it to talk. I want people, whenever they're done listening to it, to go, man, I can't wait till the next one comes out. That was really cool. And it doesn't matter whether on a particular episode I'm talking about like a mystery. Like I'm going to do a show about D.B. Cooper. You guys know who that is?
Oh, yeah.
I am so fascinated with that whole.
Never found the money he stole.
Never found him.
Never found him.
Yeah, I'm so fascinated with that story. It's such a cool story, and I bet you there's a bunch of people out there that's never even heard of it. I mean, it's something that happened, but in the early '70s.
Well, that's a good way to approach the podcast, because when we first started, we were going to talk just farming, and now we talk to everybody and anybody, and bands and social and influencers and farmers, oil guys, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure it'll evolve, just like you guys' has.
Yep.
I'll figure out what's working and what's not. I most definitely don't want to come on every single podcast and talk totally about conservative politics. I don't want to do that.
Yep.
So, I don't know. I could always come on and bitch about the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, how does it feel that Rodgers still owns you?
There's a lot of guys that don't like Aaron Rodgers, and believe it or not, even though I'm a Bears fan, I like that guy.
Yeah,
I love his confidence. Of course, I love people who are confident.
Yep.
So, and that can back it up, I should say.
I was going to say, at the beginning of the year, I was on that fence of, am I really a fan? It's kind of like the Tom Brady thing. Was he just always surrounded by talent? Was it Belichick? Some people don't like the greatest. They never are fans of the GOATs. But I would agree. Right. He said so, holding out and talking about his team and then performing. Hey, more power to you. You can talk all you want if you can back it up.
Aaron Rodgers, if you listen to this podcast, I got something I want to say to you. I am a Bears fan, and you do own my ass.
Yeah. I love it. I've had an Aaron Rodgers jersey since he came to the Packers, or starting.
Yep.
And love it. Fortunate enough to have been up to a couple Packers games in the picturesque snowing up there at Lambeau. It's something special. So
was it just fan base that you decided to start the podcast, or just because people were asking for more content, or what drew you to that? As Corey says, everybody's got a damn podcast.
Yeah, well, and I'll be very honest. I've said that too before I decided to have my own.
Yep.
I love talk radio. I really do. That's like, I don't listen to much music, and I play guitar, but I just don't listen to much music. I love listening to podcasts. Now that Rush is dead, I listen to Clay and Buck. I listen to Mike Gallagher. I mean, just good conservative talk show hosts that stimulate your brain. They make you think about stuff. They don't just take whatever NBC, CBS, and ABC shove down your throat as gospel. They'll tell you the other side. I love thought-provoking stuff, and I thought, I think I could be pretty decent at that. So maybe not on like a grand scale like those guys are, but hell, just to have fun between us.
Yep.
Yeah, I think something about talk shows on the radio, whether it's Rush Limbaugh or like an NPR. I mean, like two total ends of the spectrum. It's still thought-provoking, right? Like you said, even if you don't agree with it, you can listen to it, and then you can form your own opinions as to why, instead of it, like you said, just being shoved down your throat. That's what I like about it.
And I know Corey will say it. Dave will probably echo the same thought, that this podcast for us has been thought-provoking. We don't interview people that are the same as us at all. And the prep and the conversation and the reflection afterwards, I think you're going to enjoy it. I know you're early on in the stage, but I think you'll just enjoy the practice, the method. It'll end up being more for you than for your listeners. At least that's the way it's still been.
I was going to say, I call Tanner all the time. I'm like, remember that one we just did with that negotiation guy? I just implemented it. And then there was another one. Remember that one that we did with talking through? And I just did that. And so I get more out of it on listening to the people, rather, because I don't have to go back and listen to it because I know what we said.
Yeah.
If you can keep it to 20 minutes,
of course. And I'll have guests too. And I don't know who they're all going to be. I've got a cousin who's big in entertainment business. He used to live in Hollywood, now he lives in Nashville, Tennessee, because Tennessee is just a better state than California. But
Nash Vegas.
Exactly. And he's just, his mind it'll just blow you away with the experiences he's had, and talking about the entertainment industry, which he knows behind the curtain stuff. And I love those stories. Don't show me what E-Entertainment showed me. Tell me what really happened.
Right.
Right.
I ask my Uber drivers that all the time. I'm like, I don't want to know where we're going. I just want to know what's the craziest story that ever happened in your Uber. And it's awesome. I want to start a TikTok where we just interview Uber drivers. That's it. Because it's great, the stories you get. Or taxi cab confessions.
Yeah,
Exhibits.
I wouldn't be afraid. Not that you're seeking advice, but I wouldn't be afraid to go over the 20-minute mark. Obviously, the longer you go, the more editing you have if you plan on doing editing. But I wouldn't be afraid to go longer. What we've learned is, our target was 35 to 45 minutes. But just like in this conversation we're having right now, I'm not going to cut you off at 45 minutes. We're having fun. We're having a good conversation. If it feels good, don't stop it. People will listen.
Yes, it's rolling. Yep. Exactly. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. And Tony actually told me too. He's like, yeah, you could shoot for 20 minutes. He goes, you're going to go longer than that. That's just the way it's going to be.
Well, a lot of times you record an hour, and then you might only get 20 minutes out of it. That happens all the time. When you start cutting out all the extras, or I didn't really want that said, or we're going to go this direction, or et cetera, et cetera.
Well, my wife and I did a practice run the other night.
Yeah, I watched part of that.
Okay, yeah. So I took that, and I brought it into Audacity, and I edited it, okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
I think the total length of the show was 45 minutes. By the time I got done editing out a little bit of dead air, every time that her or I would go, or, I knocked 7 minutes off the show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You realize your habits, too, because we both do that. He says the same thing all the time. I say the same thing all the time. Mine's you bet. I say you bet all the time. I didn't know it until he's like, do you realize I listened to your podcast? You say you bet 19 times.
Do you want to tell him, or do you want me to tell him what your philosophy on dead space and repetitive words?
On that it's natural?
Yeah.
To an extent. We've had someone else editing our podcast the last few times, and the last one I could almost not listen to our own podcast because the dead space was all gone, and it was just words jumping on top of other words, and it wasn't the natural flow of conversation. Obviously, if someone has a tick and they say before every word, you don't want that, but it was not natural. I could say that.
And Vance Crowe said the same thing to us, that you just get so comfortable in this virtual world of a Zoom meeting, you forget about that. That in a natural conversation, standing around in a circle, you say that. You say and it's totally socially acceptable.
If you want to Wikipedia that's called the uncanny valley. There's one for you. Uncanny valley. So when I was building a software, it's the way that we know the way that humans are supposed to react. The way they're supposed to talk, the way they're supposed to sound, the way they're supposed to move. So when they make video games, and the reason Mario Brothers was a blockhead and walked like this was because we knew we couldn't animate him well enough to look human. So then it looks awkward. So we did it on purpose to make it not look like it was edited to be. It's called the uncanny valley. It's when you get so realistic that now it's not realistic.
You learn something every day.
There you go.
Wow.
Stupid stuff I know.
That's pretty cool, actually.
So if it doesn't sound natural, is the point of that, you're in the uncanny valley.
Yeah.
So don't edit out.
I can relate to that just from this past weekend. So Michael Strahan went to space this weekend. Did you guys see that?
I didn't know it was this weekend. I caught a clip of him saying he was going to go.
Yeah, he actually went up on Saturday, which was 2 days ago.
Okay.
And they have a drone flying around as these guys come back into the atmosphere in a capsule. Parachutes are out and, they're falling back to Earth. And that camera and I said that to my wife, the camera that was on that drone was so damn realistic, I swear to you it was a video game. It was like, there's no way you could have that good of a picture. Yeah, it's just, there's some kind of gray area in there where like it's so real it doesn't look real.
Yeah, I get it. I do. So, I totally get it. Well, listeners, this is us doing our job well, is we're cutting this short before it should ever be cut short. So that way you have to go listen to the Bushels and Barrels program.
Absolutely.
If you want more, Ryan Peter, which did you ever get made fun of having the last name Peter?
Oh my God, all the time. Like, I went to a private Catholic school here in Mount Carmel. And I tell you what, kids from a private Catholic school are way more harsh than anything I ever got in high school, which is a public school.
Yeah.
But yes, Ryan Peter, Peter Head, Harry Peter. They always changed my first name.
That's just
I was Harry Peter. I could go on.
Super creative.
You could just
right.
imagine.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So yes, I think that's where I got some of my toughness is because mom and dad wouldn't let me be too upset about it.
Sure.
They're like, this is your name and you should be proud of it. We're good people.
There you go.
All right. Well, Big Peter, you know the question that we always ask our guests. And that is, what are the most successful people you know have in common? So you got something to fire away, or do I need to stall?
I'll stall. While
You're
going to
stall? All right,
I'll
fire
stall. Who are the? Do you guys know the three guys that are up in Canada that have social media influencers? It's go really bad if you can't tell me what their name is.
There's a lot of
Quick Dick McDick?
No,
Oh.
but they made a TikTok last week with some Amish folks that had the last name Dick, and then they talk about it.
No, you're talking about Letterkenny?
Yeah, Leonard Kenny.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's a
they did
show. You need to go look them up. That's a show.
Yeah,
That is a show that I think you'd like.
Oh, it's fantastic.
I enjoy the crap
I love
out of
that
that
guy
show.
that just stands all serious all the time. Well, anyways, they, like you said, Peter, Big Peter over here, they had, the guy's name was Dick, and that they were going out. And so there's my stall. What'd you get?
For me personally, I think my greatest reason for the success that I've had in life is and my parents never would let me fail, but I was never afraid to fail. I've messed up so many times. If a person ever wants to start a business and do good at it, they have to be 100% ready to fail. And I don't mean on purpose, and I don't mean at a catastrophic level. I just mean try something on a small scale. If it fails, learn from it. If it works, try it again at a little bit bigger scale. And then once you get that kind of rhythm figured out, you're on your way.
I like that.
Very good.
I don't know if we've had something quite like that before.
And we've had a lot of them.
We have. And that, listeners, that is a great segue into the next episode. We're going to recap these. That is our goal. I set it in my New Year's resolution, and my mom had to bail me out by keeping track of all of them for us. But we do have a year's worth of the most successful traits farmers all have in common, and we will run those down for you.
It's a very special guest.
Very special. We're not going to tell you.
Yeah. No, we're not going to tell you who that one is.
Yeah. Ryan, thank you so much. This was a blast. I'm glad this worked in your schedule. Good luck on the podcast. If you need anything, you obviously know you can ask us anytime you want to.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. This has been so much fun, and I've listened to you guys for over a year now, and it's just, I love you guys' podcast. It is a regular in my rotation.
You're the man.
Sweet.
Corey, send us out.
Crack a Sierra Nevada. Also, thanks to Dahl Distributing and Gearing Hoff for those beers. You deserve it.